Okay, both streams are good to go. Victoria, thank you for joining us. We are painting up our dice commission from last night. This is what we did. Chris Brokenhammer, thank you for joining us. We're painting up our dice commission from last night. We also have to magnetize the dice box. So we're going to get the magnets ready for that as well. Hope you're having a great day, Tori. Hope everyone's doing good over at the house. If this is your first time joining us, Tori's my little cousin. That was Jocelyn. Oh. Hope you both feel better. There's definitely something going around. Little man had a little bit of a cold here a couple days ago. But I hope you both get better. And your guy best friend 6 as well. Okay. So what we're doing real quick is we're just putting down the magnets because we have to make sure that we're doing the magnets the right way. Otherwise, when they go onto the box, if they're not put on the right way, you better not have a boyfriend, little missy. You're only what? Oh wait, no, you're 15 now. See, I'm so old. I keep thinking that I keep forgetting Jocelyn graduated. Now I know how your mom felt whenever I grew up. Then again, I mean, all of your cousins on this side have kids now, so I mean, that's something to think about as well. Chris had a little girl, Courtney had a little boy. Corey, thank you for joining us. I'm just checking to see if this is actually magnetized yet. Let's hope if I line it up right. Okay. Amber, everyone that is joining, thank you for joining us. And for those joining that see the comment that I have a boyfriend, that's my little cousin. She's telling me that she got a boyfriend now. Pine Baron, thank you for joining us. By herps, I hope you mean herpetology. Okay, so if we did this right, which we should have, once this dries, there should be no, I can even do this as well, just a little bit of isopropyl, scrub it. Just to make sure. Trying to get this cleaned up a little bit, make it look a little bit nicer. So we just take a little bit of that isopropyl alcohol. And just scrub a little bit. That shouldn't get down into it where it loosens it up, but should get right where we need to. So just a quick little clean of it for any that got loose. Oh, you are kidding me. Come on, come on. Pull them out, pull them out. If I can pop this out, I can fix it. The issue is I don't want to break. How is it that we did that right the first time, but the other two it didn't take? That doesn't make sense. There we go. Nope, that's on. There we go. Now they're on the magnets. I was about to say that didn't make sense if it lined up perfectly last time, but now it's not. So we got the magnetized dice box. The funny part is, like, how we have the magnets. I guess we've polarized them the wrong way. So, like, there's only one way it can actually go on now, which is good. I mean, that's something we wanted to do with the old one, but we just didn't do it for some reason. Bear with me for a second. Just gotta put some isopropyl alcohol on my, not on my lap, but on my fingers. And it got in my skin. KNY MHA lover, thanks for joining us. Isopropyl alcohol within your skin sucks. So essentially what just happened was we got super glue on our hands and we wanted to fix it because that can make it a little bit more troublesome while we're working. However, when we went to go fix it, we have this little cut on our fingers. Somehow we got cut. No clue how. And the next thing I know, the isopropyl alcohol went into the cut. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to do a quick little cleanup of the dice. Make sure we get all the flashing off. Without scratching up the faces. We're digging into them. There's really not a lot of flashing we have to get off these. And like the last mold we did had 0 flashing. This one just has flashing because it's a new mold that we're using. We've used it a few times, but never on commission, so I had a feeling that we were going to get some flashing errors. Josh, thank you for joining us. But no, this set is nearly perfect. Now, of course, we aren't using a pressure pot at this time because we don't own one. So nothing is going to be 100% perfect. But just looking over them, I think the only void I see is a little tiny one on that corner, which is barely even noticeable. That's the only void that I'm seeing as of right now. Which is exactly what you want to see. You don't want to see voids. However, if you're not using a pressure pot, you're going to always see some void in some capacity. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, how often you do turn to us. Thank you for joining us. There's going to be some form of a void. We're going to be looking at this in one of 2 different ways. First, we're going to put down the greedy gold, and then I'm going to put down the bright gold, and then I'm going to decide which one I think looks better for this exact set. This is the only 2 golds that I have that I can use for this. So let's just get right into it and see what we got. Tornadoes, feel free to share the live. We're going to try going live for a little bit longer than usual. So we're going to do it on the D4 here. The reason we're doing the D4 is because the D4 has one area where it's super foil, and then another area where it's right on the foil as well. Now this is what the customer wanted with the inking. They wanted gold inking. on and based on how this is already looking, I might have to go with the Greedy Gold because it's a lot darker. That 2 that I just inked up, it completely washed out whenever I wiped off the excess. So there's the 2. You can barely make it out. Whereas the 4, even though it washed out as well, you can still see that. Whereas the 2, you can barely read. So yeah, we're going to go with the Greedy Gold. Turn to us, how's your morning been so far? Nice. I've kind of leaned away from washes. Like, I don't use them all the time anymore. Now, this set I'm looking at, these numbers are a lot less recessed than what I'm used to. So I have to be a little bit more precise with my inking. Oh, I didn't get that Leonin yet. I'm thinking about getting it, but yeah, I know the one you're talking about. That looks really nice. Nope. I did not have the funds to get it. Oh yeah, that one looks a lot better. So let me do it that way. Like I said, these numbers are so shallow that I won't even be able to properly sand these. Is another issue that this is, and that's really like the only issue I'm seeing with this mold. Because, like I said, this is the first time we've made anything with this mold. So normally when we use, or normally when we ink, we literally just fill in the whole face and then we go over it all at once. Can't really do that with this set because of how shallow it is. Please res me. I'm not sure what Gorg means. As long as it's not derogatory, you're free to stay. If it is derogatory, I'm going to have to ask you to remove that if you can. I'm not sure if you can remove it. Gorgeous. Okay. Yep, just want to make sure that everything's good. I've never heard the term. I'm old school. I'm old. A lot of what the young folks are saying, I don't understand no more. Yeah, this inking. So I like this mold because it gives me multiple options. No, that's Gore. Gorr. So I like this mold because it gives me multiple options for a D4. Hey, painting nails can also be very time consuming. It can be very tedious. But yeah, these numbers are just so shallow that I like the fact that the mold actually comes out perfect. Like we have no flaws. I don't like how shallow these numbers are because of the fact that how I normally would ink, I can't do it that way no more. Which the D20 is going to be a real nightmare on. Yeah, exactly. So, like, for instance, that is what I did with this set right here. And you can see those numbers aren't really shallow. That's at least like 2 millimeters deep in. Whereas these ones are about 8 millimeter deep. So trying to get that to be exact is difficult because I want it to still be a clean face. I got you beat there. So Little Scarecrow has been really into those like Utz's cheese balls, where it's just like a Cheeto puff that's like diced up. And essentially what happened was he woke up this morning. We got him those little Hostess or Little Debbie powdered donuts because he likes those for breakfast. And he woke up, he got himself some of those, he started eating those. Little to our knowledge, when we were putting food away, did he turn over, look at us, and we hear the utter cry of defeat of a 3-year-old going, "Ah, Mom, And she looks over and goes, "What?" And then she realizes what's in her hand. She has the cheese balls that she poured into a different container. And the look of utter heartbreak on this toddler's face over the fact that his mother put away his cheese balls was priceless. Now, I still got you beat on a lot of stuff there too, because like I said, like we were discussing a couple of days ago, Turner Dust, how my son's daycare required him to be potty trained by the time he was 2, because it's state law where I'm at, or three. You got to be potty trained by 3 because it's state law in Missouri that they have to be potty trained by 3 if they're going to daycare. Well, he wakes up this morning, looks me dead in the eyes, and is visibly upset. And I'm trying to figure out why he's upset. I ask him, "Hey, bud, why are you upset?" He goes, "I had an accident." So my first initial thought was, I gotta go clean up his mess. He wet the bed again. And a little to my surprise, I get to the bed. I don't see a puddle. So I'm like, let me just start feeling around, seeing if I can feel where the accident is. And I'm feeling around, and I'm not feeling anything. I'm like, "But are you sure you had an accident?" He goes, "Yeah, my butt's wet." And I'm like, "Oh no, he went number 2. So I take him to the bathroom. I start to help him get undressed so that we can see what we're working with there, because for those without toddlers, that can be a nightmare. But I get him undressed thinking that the worst that you can possibly expect is about to reveal itself. But there was nothing there. And I'm starting to feel his pants. He had sweat so hard last night, he thought he had an accident. That's the funnier thing. He's in a fan, and he's in the room that gets the coldest at night, even with the heater going. We were getting personalized messages from his daycare about how we need to bring a jacket for daycare. He can't go outside and play without a jacket, yada yada yada. And his grandma, my stepmom, is one of the daycare teachers, and even she tried to explain to the head that he just sweats like profusely. It makes no sense how he can sweat that much. He just sweats. Like, I put out heat, but I'm also 160 pounds, soaking wet. We've gotten 3, working on 4 of these dice. Fully inked up. I think we chose the right gold. That looks, even with that foil underneath. Like, let me show you on the one face, because the one face is right here. Exactly. You can still see the number with the foil underneath, and that's the goal. Like, that's the one face. You can clearly see that that's a 1, even though it's on top of another bit of gold. But no, we had a lot of fun with doing this set. So we are going to continue with, and I will even call it a line. A Greek-inspired line. And here's what I mean by a Greek-inspired line. We will continue doing dice like this, and you can have different, because we have different color foil. Where is my foil box? Oh, right here. Like, I have rose gold. I have silver. That was glitter. Some pink glitter. Some actual gold. And we can get even more. So, I mean, just because this is the Zeus doesn't mean we can't make it like the Aphrodite and do like pink with roses on the inside or anything like that. Like I said, the issue with this mold is solely the inking process because of the numbers being so shallow. Yes, Sun or bow for Apollo or Athena. Athena would be more like an owl, because that's her symbol. But yeah, I mean, and I'm looking into doing another unique God-inspired set. I just gotta figure out how I want to do it. I want to do one based off of Thor, not MCU Thor, but Thor, where they got that Thor from. So I know it would have to include lightning because he's the god of thunder and lightning. But I just don't know how I would implement it fully. There's the D8. While we were waiting, this is that raised number dice I was telling you guys about that we made yesterday. So these are a lot bigger than our molds. So these are, this set specifically, if we do sell this, because this is looking more like that could be copyright infringement if I sell it. But if we do sell it, and we do find out that it's not copyrighted, what we planned on doing with that set specifically would be, since the box would be too big, for the dice, they do have to go in a bag separately. Or you have to buy the big one as well. Because they do fit in the big one. Now, if you have been watching our videos, you'll notice a trend with the last few videos, both on YouTube. The numbering specifically looks too close to a specific copyrighted dice makers. So that's how that one could be copyrighted. So essentially what ends up happening is, like, let's say that I make my dice mold. Because I'm working with a buddy of mine to get my own dice commissioned. And let's say I sell you a set of dice. But then you get mad at me because of my prices and think, well, I could just make my own dice. So you use my dice as your master set. So it's not just the font, it's like the actual shape of the dice as well. Because, like, it's got this raised edge as if it was actually a metal dice. So this looks more like they took a metal die, made a mold out of it, took it out, and just sold the mold. But yeah, I mean, the font, and I'll give an example, like with my dice. My D20s are going to have my logo on it. Now it's going to be a simpler logo, but it'll still have like a scarecrow on it to show hey, these came from Scarecrow Miniature Painting. So, like, if you tried to sell dice of mine that had that logo, people would realize it and be like, hey, look, yeah, you're selling somebody else's dice as your own. Even though you handmade it, you used my mold or my dice as that mold. It definitely gets into a tricky little conundrum that can potentially happen. It's very rare that it does happen. I will be completely honest with you on that. Very rare. But it does happen. Temu and Wish are the two biggest culprits. There are several companies that sell on Temu and on Wish that are currently under a lawsuit because they took Chessex dice and made molds out of those Chessex dice. And sold the mold. So people thought that, oh, we're getting generalized molds. But in reality, they were getting copyright infringed Chessex dice molds. And unless you got a Chessex dice, can you read that? No, why is that not taking? I'll do it this way. Unless you have Chessex dice, it's kind of hard to tell. Like a lot more people are doing it, specifically with ChessX. Yeah, it definitely is hit and miss. Like even what I'm selling right now, I have to be cautious. I have to make sure that, hey, did you make this mold yourself? Because if I sold it and it was ChessX Dice that made the mold, ChessX, $1 million corporation, could sue me. But nope, I verified that everything that I've purchased for a mold beyond that one was just more I wanted to see what it meant by raised numbering. And we know now what it means. It's exactly what it sounds like. But every other mold that we've made and the commissions we have done, we have verified that yes, they are not copyright infringed upon, so that we can actually work with those and sell those. It's like this set, the two that I primarily use my what do you call it? The two I use on the first two molds that I had, both of those I verified that they are not copyright infringed upon. It's a dangerous game out here in the dice business. I will say that. That's why more and more people are making their own masters and just molding their own dice, because they don't want to get accused of making a set of dice that is potentially copyrighted. Like I said, we are looking into getting our own master set made up. We've already got a quote out there for it. We just got to get the money for it. And that's going to run our prices up for that as well, just because that does take a little bit of money to do. For example, we're going to have two molds made, one for regular dice with the faces, one without any of the faces. The reason we're doing the one without the faces is because it's what's called a blank. You can get it to where you can put a blank inside of another dice to get some pretty cool effects going. And that's why we're going to do the blanks. I was hoping Midnight Ghoul would hop on so he could see us inking this. Like I said, the one good thing about this mold that I've noticed, I do not have to polish anything. I don't have to sand anything down. I don't have to polish anything. But at the cost of not polishing it, I'm also losing detail within that face. And what I mean by detail within the face is that it's shallower, to the point where I can't properly ink it the way I usually do. Which is similar to that, but I mean, this one you're able to see a little bit more of. what I like is how like that 5 and that what's it 9 are the same exact color, but the 5 is darker for some reason. So here's the thing. Remember, you guys gotta remember whenever we did Turn to Dust inking, that took 30 minutes to do a full set. This one has taken double the amount of time. There's the D12. This set does look really nice. I will say that. I'll show off what we got so far. I really like how that turned out. Now we're going to the one that scares me a little bit. The D20. Just because there's really no way for me to ink this properly. And we have decided to name the bullet dice. So, for anybody wanting a set of bullet dice, we are going to be calling it the Gunslinger. Igor, thanks for joining us. We are just inking up our latest commission. Now I do know I want to do one. I do want to make one set of dice today, at least one. Somebody made a comment on one of our videos today asking if we could do a specific kind of dice. I'm looking at the request. I'm like, no, we can't. We could do it, but we've never done it before. And now I'm wondering why we haven't done it before. So essentially what we're going to do is we are going to make, and I got to get that water going for it. Crap. Essentially, we're going to make a set of balefire dice. So what balefire is, it's just green fire. Now this is going to take 2 different pours. Abby Pryor, thank you for joining us. There we go. Now we test them because we have not tested this dice yet. Pretty balanced. And with that, we have Zeus done. Now, one thing I want to show off is, for some reason, Armine did this subconsciously. There's only one way this will actually fit. Our brain subconsciously said, you know what, we're going to make it to where only one way fits. So that's a great question. What do I use to fill in the numbers of the dice? I just use paint. That's all you need. You can use alcohol inks. I've seen people do it. I'm not a fan of how it looks. But honestly, just regular paint. I mean, we use Greedy Gold for this set right here. And that's how this turned out. Yours said we just use black paint. So, where's my alcohol inks? Okay. Bear with me, everyone. I gotta look for another. Where did all that go? Oh, they all fell back here, of course. They all just fell out. Cool. Great. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. All 80 of my pipettes just decided to jump out of nowhere. Ah, I see. I've been in similar situations like that, where you gotta fill them in, and then the person's no longer making them. Yeah, so as time goes on, it will eventually rub off. We do need black. That's step one. Step two is green. Step three. Cerulean. So this is the cerulean we chose yesterday. This is supposed to be a blue. Now in person, this looks more like green. Still a really nice set. But for the first time, we actually have a defect on the bullet dice. We've never had this happen before where there's defects on the actual faces themselves. D3, D24, D14, and D13. 36. Understandable. Now I gotta check how or why that did that. Aha, I found this one. That's exactly what happened. Okay. So like how this dice set is supposed to work, so you're supposed to take it, throw it upside down, and lift this part up. So like the D100, yep, I knew that I was gonna have it. Yeah, there was I'm gonna have to clean this mold out like a lot better. There's some residual resin like stuck on the inside right where all these defects happened. So that's exactly what it was. But we're going to use a regular set today. We're not going to use our bullet dice today. Where'd my mold box go? There it is. We're going to use... Like I said, I really like this mold. This is like the one mold I've had that I've had no issues with anything when it comes to building. So we're going to use that mold. We're going to use this cup. Now, we're not going to use this to pour. We've learned that when we use this to pour, it does not work. Instead, what we're going to do... Yes, this is the same mold where we get the Zeus. So the Zeus is just the idea of the color. And what I mean by the idea of the color is I mean that white and gold, because I thought it looked more Olympic. So that's what that is. This mold right here, it is just a regular mold. Has D4s, has D6s, etc. The only thing that's unique about it is that I can choose to have a gotcha. Yep, I could choose to have a prismatic, a barrel, or a caltrop. D20. Or D4. My apologies. If I could have a Caltrop D20, I'd love that. We've made a few other molds with this dice. We just haven't, or we made a few other dice with this mold. It's just that was the first one that actually came out pristine. I think yours might have even used this mold. No, yours didn't. Because yours I was able to just slap on and rub off. But this is pretty much our go-to mold right now. But essentially what's going to happen, and I need the 4. Never mind, I need the... Oh, wait, no. Okay, I know how I'm going to do this. I know exactly how I'm going to do this. Because I just want to do the mold. I don't want to do anything else. Toxic Goth, thank you for joining us. We're just making some dice. Citrus green, what color was that? More of the yellow green, but we'll put that on the sideline in case we want to add that. Dark moss green. No. Emerald green. Yeah, that would be a nice little touch. Where's the forest green at? Now we gotta go forest. Gotta go with the forest green. Wherever it is. Now this mixture I'm going to do, it's a little bit different. I'll say that, to the very least. Essentially what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 different mixtures. We're going to fill them both up to the 25. This way we have 2 50s. Now that 50 should fill up 1 mold. It should. Because what that's going to do is it's going to do 100 milligrams or milliliters of resin. So that should fill up 1 mold. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to pour 150 into here. We're going to add black to another 50. We're going to pour the mold almost fully black. Then we're going to take the pipette, suck up that resin. We're going to put it in the mold. We're going to do kind of like a cloud up. What we're trying to get is the effect of fire, specifically balefire. We're going to try to do this. One of our longtime viewers watched and wanted to, or was watching and wanted to see if that was something that we could potentially do. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to get that to look as best we can. And if we do it, what time we got? No, we wouldn't be able to look at it today. But what we can do while we got everyone on is affiliate time. Fan roll. This is their advent calendar that we've been showing off for Valentine's Day. This is $50 on their website. And if you use our code, you actually get 5% off. So, what do you get with it? You get 2 full sets of dice. You get this nifty little dice bag right here. And you get dice. This one has a candy heart and it says you're a gem. Now, these aren't sharp edge like ours, but they're nice little dice. They also come with a bonus date night dice. And before I say anything else, the date night dice has a little bit of spice to it. I'm going to be right back. I need to go fill up this bowl full of water so we can get our resin to start to get to the level we need it to be before we can begin working. So stay there. I'll be right back. I gotta let the water heat up for a little bit. But essentially what the goal is we're going to take these 3 greens, forest green, yellow green, and green, and we're going to put them in here. Like I said, we're going to take the pipette in one, we're going to swirl it up. We're going to do that on all of the dice. We're going to take it in the next one, swirl it up, and the same, we're going to take it and swirl it up. We're going to start with the lightest color and move our way. Well, but in this case, we want darkest color to lightest. Oh, Tiger, come here, buddy. Hey. And now you guys get to see Tiger while I'm gone. Come here, Tiger. That's okay. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come on. Oh, I gotta let that water heat up anyway. Oh, I know. No, Mama Scarecrow is sitting here cleaning up. Because this is also Little Man's playroom. We're getting rid of some of his toys. So Mama Scarecrow was cleaning up, and Tiger decided to come in here. And we had our water from last night sitting out, and it was cooled off. He decided he wanted to get up there and try taking a drink out of it. It's got no resin in it. It's perfectly fine. But you need to calm down. Yes, I know. You want to go? Okay. Yep, go. Come on. Oh, you got food, you got water, you got your snacks. You're good. So now you all have seen Tiger. I know you've heard me say his name a few times, like right as I've started lives. But that was him. And yes, he is just as much a pain in my butt as my toddler. This one's already open. Good. I know that one's open. I don't think this one is. Nope. Okay. Okay. How's everybody doing today? That is a little bit of both. He's part Maine Coon, so he's a big cat already. And then he's got a really thick coat. My stepmom came in when we moved to see the new place. And Tiger's not very people friendly. So essentially what ended up happening. I'm going to try to see if this will feel like around it. Essentially what ended up happening was he came out for the first time to my stepmom. Now my stepmom's been in our house before with him in it, but like I said, he's not people friendly. Not people friendly. That's not the right word. He doesn't like people. He'll go up to you if he knows you. But essentially, what ended up happening was my stepmom saw him for the first time and didn't realize how big he was. She's seen pictures of him, but never realized, grasped how big he actually was. Right now, we're just talking just to try and get the water to do what it has to do. It's got to become less syrupy so that we can do what we need to do. While we're waiting on that, we can get some PPE on. I'm hating the fact that we got. I hate the feeling of getting resin on my fingers, but yeah. So, Midnight Ghoul, if you join, your dice set is complete. And for those of you joining, if you would like a custom dice set that's handmade, hand inked, everything like that, we are selling them on our website, which can be found in our bio, as well as get them as soon as you can. Once we raise our prices, if you have not paid for the commission, let's say you've requested one, but you haven't paid, you will then be required to pay the new pricing. So, for example, let's say Turner Dust comes to me next week. And we haven't updated the pricing on our website. And says, I want 2 sets of dice. Just with the dice bags. Here's exactly how I want them. And we go ahead, we start doing the dice for him. But for some reason, he didn't give me the money. And then the next week, we raise our prices. Now, Turner Dust has been in most of our lives, and we've even been mentioning that once the price increase happens, that is when we will be implementing that, and that if you have not paid, you would then be subjected to the new pricing. Because to me, especially with commissions like this, until you have paid, you have not bought my work. You may have been in discussion about it, but you have not actually bought it. It's the same thing with a miniature figure. I'm not going to ship you a miniature until you pay me. Even if I paint it before you buy it. It's just business at that point. There's nothing against you guys. It's nothing against anybody. It's just I've had several people when I first started getting into miniature commissioning. I used a subreddit called Brush for Hire. Now, it's fairly simple to use Brush for Hire. Because all you do on there, exactly, smart business practice. All you do on there is if you are needing a commission done, you post that you want a commission. And then artists will DM you their prices, examples of their work, everything like that. And you just pick the one you want. But they'll tell you that they DM'd you first. This way it's not just that, hey, I DM'd you out of nowhere. I saw you do this. They'll let you know first, 9 times out of 10. But what we run into the issue with Brush for Hire on was specifically how they do business. So here's what I mean by that, how they do business. So let's say you reach out to me for a commission, and then 3 weeks go by. Or I reach out to you, you're on Brush for Hire, you ask for a commission. I've given you my details. And at that point, I'm just waiting for a response from you. But I haven't heard anything yet. You are not allowed to reply back if you haven't heard anything, per how the subreddit works. So, for example, Turnadust could go on this subreddit today, ask for a commission, get, on average, it's like 9 people. Get 9 people interested in the commission, and then not reply to a single one. But those that are wanting to do the work, they're sitting there waiting for your reply. Now, those that run the subreddit have actually muted me before within the subreddit because of one reason. And it is the silliest reason ever. Requester sends message looking for a specific miniature to be painted. I send examples of me painting said miniature. Then, after I sent them the examples, I didn't hear from them for 3 weeks. Thought it was pretty odd. Didn't think nothing of it. And this is the first time I used that subreddit, so it wasn't really in my wheelhouse of how that worked. Well, I'm sitting there waiting for an answer still. I'm getting a little bit more answer him like, okay, I'm not going to reach out to them. Maybe they just didn't want to use me. That's fine. So I see another reply or another request on the subreddit for another army. I'm like, I'll just reach out to this one. I reached out to him. That turns out it was the same person. 3 weeks later, different army. That person went to the admins and complained that I had reached out to them for the same army when I was actually reaching out for a separate one. And they took away my ability for 3 weeks to utilize it. So once again, if you're looking for a commission, it's a great source. Definitely recommend it because it gives you an option of multiple different painters out there. However, be mindful if you're a painter because they don't really even follow their own rules that they themselves have put in place there, which to me is a little bit of a red flag. It hits hard when you see all these people asking for commissions on this site, and you've reached out to every single one of them, and none of them reply. I've had friends, and my brother's friends, my sister's friends, reach out to me, oh, that's so cool, let me get this. And then I give them the quote, and they're like, crickets. I asked my brother, I'm like, hey, my brother's a perfect example. He had a specific figure that I could do on live. That's not an issue. It's very risque, and as you guys know with me, I'm not too big into risque. I'll do pinup, which is exactly what this was. It was a little bit more risky than pinup, but it was still pinup. But my brother's friend was looking to have me do this. It was Princess Leia in the golden bikini. For the Star Wars fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For non-Star Wars fans, it's exactly what it sounds like. And essentially, what ended up happening with this specific job was my brother's friend asked for a commission. I offered to supply. I said, yeah, I can do that. That's not an issue. Because it wasn't an issue. I gave him a quote. He was willing to meet up, drop it off, everything like that. And I go from there. Apparently, him and my brother got into a fight. They've since made up. But I got the message, due to your brother's acquired taste, I have chosen to go with a different painter. So my first thought when I got this message was to call up my brother. And I asked him immediately, what did you do and why did I just lose a job over it? And he explained to me the scenario that he has been put in. And that's when the wheelhouse started clicking for me and realizing what actually happened. Long story short, some accusations were made against my brother that were proven false. But because of that, his friend thought that I was going to never give him. No, this was a friend that I've known since he was like 6. Lim, thank you for following us. I appreciate it. But this is a friend that I've known since they were 6 years old, kindergarten. In fact, so that he knew that what was being accused was not true, and that was the issue I had. But I was more irate that I lost a job over a severely false accusation rather than me actually just not having a good enough rapport built. The accusation alone kind of hit me hard. He's just my little brother. I'm going to defend my little brother. But at the same time, I also know my little brother's a little asshole. So I know I have to make sure to look out for him, make sure that what's being said is true, because I know my little brother could have done what the accusation was. I don't think he would, but he could have. Means were there, everything was there. But it irked me that that's the exact reason why I lost out on a job. It wasn't because of the fact that I didn't have what he was looking for. It wasn't because of this, or this. It was solely because of the fact that what he did, or what ended up happening, it wasn't even what he did. So first and foremost, what I'm going to do here with this mold is I'm going to pick the D4. We're going to do a pendant. I'm just going to pour a little bit of resin in the face of every mold. Now the rest of this resin we're going to split up between 3 colors. And pretty much what I did is I just took that, I mixed it up into 3 separate parts. Wasn't really caring if it was even or not, because what's eventually going to happen is I'm going to pour this black in right now. And this is why we did the windows, because this black is a little thick. And I wanted it to still be legible once we actually pour this whole mold. Okay. So I'm just going to add the colorant in now so we can mix up the colorant. Okay. So now I gotta wait for this one right here to kind of get to more of a honey texture. Once it gets that honey texture, that's when I'm going to start using the pipette, going into each of these molds. I'm going to lift the mold up because I can do it with this mold. I'm going to show you. So pretty much, there's a little window in those. I'm going to take each of these pipettes, I'm going to go all the way down. I'm going to slowly pull up. I'm going to try doing it in the same location on every mold. I'm going to do that throughout the dice, but I'm going to stop it at certain points to kind of give the illusion of fire. Downside is we gotta wait for it to do the honey phase, which takes probably about another 10 to 15 minutes. We could do it with it now, with at least 4 screen. Okay, I'm gonna move that over here. So put that in the bottom. That went too fast. That one more than likely just blew out the entire. There we go. I wish I had a better way to show this besides just YouTube, because YouTube right now you can see exactly what I'm doing. And we're going to look for alternative ways to do cameras. I know I want to get one. Danny, thank you for joining us. Where I can latch it onto the table, have it above us, and go from there. Mama Scarecrow, thank you for joining us. Okay, so this one is done. The issue with this is I have to use 3 different pipettes. Otherwise, it mixes the colors up and you don't get the desired effect you want. So what's cool is I can actually see into this mold right now a little bit with what we've done. And that green, just the greens that we've used are showing through fairly well. On certain dyes, even with the black. So when we get to this yellow green, I really want to know how that looks. Mama Scarecrow, thank you for joining us. We only got 4 more dice left to do with this green. I don't even remember who requested this. Okay. If you need me to stop, just let me know. I'll get out and I'll help you as well. For those wondering what Mama Scarecrow's talking about, Little Scarecrow has way too many toys. So while he is out with his grandma, we're packing stuff up to go to Goodwill. I'm going to do one more on that one. I didn't like how that one didn't kind of get going. Now, what this should do essentially, for those that are watching, is that with me making these clouds inside the dice while it's curing, that should stay in all of those dice. Even though, like right now, some of the green is coming up through the top. It should stay where it needs to be. In other words, it should stay like right where we put all of that. I'll do a third of that one. That one did not show up at all. And that's the D20, so that's one of the most crucial dice. Okay. Final one. Okay. Now, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to pour a thin coat of black onto this dice mold. I'm not going to make it even either. Because next, what we're going to do, we're going to take this. Okay. And now I need to spin this around. Grab it right by that. Spin it a little bit more. Pick it up. And we're just going to slam it right on top of that mold. Right into those keys. Now, we need to put some weight on there. So we are going to toss on these two. Now we got a little bit of black left, so we could do another bullet dice mold. We cleaned it out as much as we could. Should be just enough to fill in the entire bullet dice mold. Or not. Huh. That's a little concerning. However, we do have another alternative that we can use to fill that in, and that's the excess resin from this one. Okay. That's the exact opposite of what I wanted to happen with my fingers. I don't even know how it happened. As soon as I took the gloves off, my fingers still got resin on them. Now, normally we would put a little notice on that lid, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to, or a little bit of resin on the lid. We are not going to do that because we don't got no excess resin. We're just going to smack that on, let that dribble over. We're going to call that a day here. I really want to see how these guys turned out. So far, I think we've done pretty good with what we've accomplished. We got 2 sets we got to ship out here in the next week. We're going to box them up tomorrow, get them ready. We got the 1 set that's being prepped. And then another like over pour set. But yeah, I mean, that's what we've done today. If you like what you see, definitely give us a shout out. Use us as commissions, everything like that. Don't forget to check out our website, check out our affiliates, and have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.